Hello, welcome back to Adventure 82. So today we're out in the North Yorkshire Dales, just above the little town of Swinthwaite. We're going to go have a look at the Knights of the Templar Presbytery, which is down here somewhere behind me. I don't know how much is left. They say there's not an awful lot left, but I thought it was quite interesting to go and look at. It's been there since the 1100s, so it's over 700 years old. So let's go and have a look. Alright, so we're making our way down to where I think the presbytery is, because I've left the well, the other maps you have at home, so I'm relying on entirely on Google Maps. But I think we found the right place, because looks very much like a Templar symbol to me on here. Dated, what's this? 1865. Look at that. So that's round about the time this was excavated. At the time it was excavated, there were actually some coffins, etc., found, stone ones, and they had bodies in. I'm not sure what's happened to them, I can't seem to find out, but yeah, there was 2 coffins found, and then there was a third one which hasn't seemed to have been opened, but they seem to think it was something storing like a sword or such like in. But let's go and have a look. Right, so you can see here we're clearly in the middle of nowhere. I'll say the middle of nowhere, just beyond that wall, that tree line, is the A684 main road that goes between West Whitton, Ayersgarth, and eventually goes all the way up into Hawes. We're on what's called Harsgill Lane. It's not really a lane, it's more like an off-road track, but yeah. So this fenced off area you can see here, that's the presbytery. There are some other sections to it as well. Wow, it's really slippy down here, so I'm going to have to be careful. But yeah, stupidly I've come out here and I've not thought about this, and I've worn trainers, so I'm trying not to break my neck. But yeah, so I mean, you can see by the lay of the land, I don't know if it comes out on camera, but this is actually quite uneven, quite bumpy. I reckon, especially down here where they have excavated, but you can see there's bumps where they never did. There's probably more to this presbytery than what's actually out in the open at the moment. But I don't think the rest will ever be excavated, to be honest. The whole area is now a marked site of historical interest. So I'd imagine there'd be quite a lot of red tape involved in excavating further now, unless you had really good evidence or proof that there might be something there. But yeah, it's quite nice out here today. It's supposedly 7 degrees. Feels still, to be honest, like it's kind of 0-ish at the mark. It's still very cold on the hands, but it's nice to be out, especially after last week when stuck indoors with the horrendous wind, rain, etc. But right, let's go take a close look at this this presbytery. Right, so here we are. We've got a sign up here too. What's that say? Let's have a look. So it says Pen Hill Preceptory. These walls and graves belong to the chapel and the preceptory of the Knights Templar, built in circa 1200 and handed over on their suppression in 1312 to the Hospitaliers. The chapel, the remains of which were uncovered in 1840, there you go, served adjoining residential buildings that have not been exposed. This preceptory is protected as a monument of national importance under the Ancient Monuments Act 1913 to 1953, Department of the Environment. So there you go. We did say it looks like there's other buildings, and if you're down on this level you can see the bumps and lumps in the ground where there probably was many adjoining buildings, to be fair. So this would be the main preceptory of the church of the Knights Templar here. This must have been quite, because you can see how much of this was all underground before they excavated it, so this would have been quite a lump. So like when I say that like some of these bigger lumps may well be other buildings, it's not too far-fetched really, is it? It's part of the flooring down here, and you've got walls go around. That clearly would have been the original door there, and then this area up here would have been the altar. So this is, you can see it's kind of body shaped anyway, upside down body shaped. So if I come around the other way you'll see, probably easier. See how it's body shaped? So this is one of the graves where they found a body in it. Interestingly, it's got a drainage hole in the middle, and you've got the lid there that they've left on top. That would have been on top, and the same here as well, which is quite cool. You can see the moss and the grass are slowly taking this back, so I'm not quite sure how well this will be. You've got another section there that would have been part of the altar, and another graveyard there, grave section there. This would have been where this great hole is now. This would have been the main altar. That's long gone. I'm guessing once it was handed over to the Hospitaliers in the 1300s, this probably was taken away by them. There is an example, I've forgotten where, but there's an example of an actual proper Templars altar in the church in London. So you can still see one, it's just there's not one here anymore. And you can see here there's a back wall there, so it's quite a vast area. I wonder how much of this they inhabited actually. It's really quite impressive. And then you've got over here, if we come out this way, signs of, see across in the other field, possibly more, or the preceptory. This was part of the whole layout of the buildings that were here. So these were uncovered as well during the excavation. And you can see here actually that there's stone sticking out from possibly another building here. So yeah, there's definitely more to be had if this was all excavated and had that. You may have more of like an idea of how they lived here, to be honest, because not overly high up, but they're not out the way either, so kind of meets in the middle. It's what you want, isn't it? You can see there's a couple of ways in, so you can come in from here where I was, but that's not really the recommended way. The recommended way would be either through the hiking trail gateway here, or through the other hiking trail gateway just here. So this is actually part of a proper hiking trail. He says he hops across the water. But you can see that's some rough going. That's why you can't really drive up. But yeah, see, the trail goes this way, and the footpath starts the Templar farm. If you want to come up and do this, that's where it starts. Public footpath, and then you can come up here. You can see the presbytery, and then there's footpath comes from the direction there, and then here you can see here another public footpath that says Nossels Lane via Langthwaite Lane, which is pointing up to kind of where I've come from up there. So that's the kind of directions you can come from. You can see Erica and Lydia with me today, as is the dog and Blade. So if you saw my video I did on Askrigg Station, because you'll probably be aware if you follow the channel, I've been following the Ensdale Railway. There was a re-upload of it, and if you watched it initially, you'll be wondering why I re-uploaded it. I do hate this camera in the sunlight because you lose your face. Look, there we go. Yes, you might be wondering why I re-uploaded it. There's nothing wrong with the video. I was contacted by someone via Facebook who asked me to re-edit it because there were certain parts of their property they didn't want in the video. So that's why I just had to cut those bits out. So there's not much I can do about that. Going up this way, this is a problem. I've got to go this way, but as soon as I turn this way, I have no face, not as far as you can see anyway. So we're up here now. I've not been out for a bit, so I wasn't sure exactly how to get up here. I've been trying to get up here for a bit because it sounded quite intriguing to me, and I wasn't sure how to get here. So yeah, I came and I've had a look and I've seen it now. I've shown you guys, which is what I wanted to do. But you can see here this, yeah, see, this becomes public property, or ends being public property over there, I think, apart from probably the footpath. Right, so I thought I'd come back after you just had a look over here and found that's kind of the end of the public area. So to have a closer look at the walls, because it looks to me, doesn't look like this is crumbled, not the way that, like, how solid this wall is held up. It looks like it's been purposefully, like, part demolished. So I was wondering whether maybe this was purposefully demolished after they handed it over, or whether maybe it did just fall into disrepair and fall down, but it doesn't appear that way. Not that I'm a historian or anything. If I do find any information, this will be around about the time that you'll cut to me back in my computer room, and I'll pass on the additional information. Otherwise, if I don't cut in and interrupt, then there's nothing else that I can find on this preceptory. I was actually quite surprised there's more than one. So there's quite a few of these around, it's a couple of them anyway, around the country. But if going by this one's anything to go by, I mean, this will probably be what, maybe 10-ish minute video at a push, which is quite short for mine. So if you're used to my normal videos, I apologise. This isn't particularly in-depth, and it isn't as long as my normal videos are. But I thought this was worth showing, but at the same time there's not a lot to say about it, unless obviously, like I said, I've intervened. Intervene is exactly what I'm going to do. So yeah, as I said, there wasn't a lot that I could find before I went. I did want to document it. I thought it was worth having a look at, but I have found some additional information on my phone. So being my memory is absolutely horrendous, I've bookmarked it on my phone, and I'll read it to you from there, because generally, as a rule, unless it's about trains, I will probably forget about it. He says, as he's looking at his phone trying to find it for you. So it's right here. If you want to look this up yourself, you can do. It's on the British History website. But it says here, the Order of the Knights of the Temple of Jerusalem was founded in 1119, but it was not until the middle of the 12th century they began to acquire possessions in Yorkshire, which is what we're looking at now, where they eventually established at least 10 preceptories, Pen Hill Preceptory, which is what that one was called, being one of them. Their prosperity was brought to an abrupt close at the end of the 14th century. In 1308, Sir John Crepping, Sheriff of Yorkshire, received the King's writ to arrest the Templars within the county and all their property. 25 Templars were placed in custody in York Castle and examined on the charge of heresy, idolatry, and other crimes brought against the order by the Pope Clement V and Philip IV of France. After a long drawn-out trial, which the evidence adduced against the knights was too flimsy to secure the desired conviction, a compromise was arrived by which the brethren, without admitting their guilt, acknowledged that the order was strongly suspected of heresy and other charges from which they could not clear themselves. They then received an absolution at the hands of the Bishop of Withen on the 29th of July 1311, and they were released from prison with distributed amongst the various monasteries, and the next year a suppression order was decreed by the Pope, and a large portion of their estates, including Pen Hill property, which you've just been looking at, was then made over to the Knights of the Hospitaliers. Hence, there's a Hospitalier connection that I've mentioned previously. It does go on to say some other things which I thought were quite interesting, including the Yorkshire estates of the Templars consisted of the preceptories of the Cot Manthorpe within the Castle Mills of York, Faxfleet, Felbridge, Pen Hill, Newham, Westerdale, and Whitley, and the manors of Elversthorpe and Eton, which, although possessing chapels, do not seem to have had preceptories. All these estates, with the exception of Faxfleet, Templehurst, and Temple Newsome, were passed to the Hospitaliers. So there you go. I thought that was quite interesting. As you can see, they fell victim to the powers that be, and ended up kind of making a reasonable deal. If you managed to stay alive, I suppose, back then, because normally most things like that ended up with you having your head chopped off. Anything was better than that. So yeah, that's well, I'm sure for them back then that was a reasonable deal. For ours now, you know, if it's flimsy, it's flimsy, isn't it? So, but they were basically a victim of the Pope and Christianity, essentially, I suppose, is what that breaks down to. But yeah, I thought that was information worth passing on to you guys. So now back to me back at the Pen Hill Preceptory. So I've intervened. I shall stop waffling now because I just noticed something. There's more stonework here. This has clearly been here for a while because it's purposefully flat. So that looks like that was flooring. At least this stone was. Don't know about these. Be stunning to see what's underneath these other mounds. And I've mentioned that's not the 4th time, but I think it would be really quite fascinating to find out what's behind the other mounds. Yeah, so I mean, if they did ever do that, I'd be the first one here, and I'd see what I could find out for you. But this is like just a short video, shall we say, as I mentioned, because there's not an awful lot else about at the moment. So I've got quite a big video plan, but I'm waiting on someone else who's going to be coming with me to video it, so that's kind of on hold. I have got the location of a few new extra stations to go and have a look at, and I found an abandoned railway bridge which we're going to go have a nose at to at some point. After the issues with Ashfrig Station, which I mentioned before, I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do Wensley Station or Aysgarth. I'm going to have to tread very lightly, because I don't want to offend anybody and I don't want to get the channel into trouble. So yeah, those will come, but they will come when it suits the people who own the properties, unfortunately. For you guys, unfortunately, I'll just have to deal with it. I've got a couple of things I'm chasing up. But yeah, so it's a short one this week. We should be back to normal length next week. I've got some other videos I'm going to be filming, but they're for the other channel. So if you've not seen my new channel yet, last week the Adventure 2 Tech and Games channel launched. At the moment it's just the 2 videos on it of me upgrading my PC, but there will be other ones up there over the coming weeks to do with fixing consoles. We'll be doing gadget reviews. Some of the other things that we'll be doing on there include like Amazon reviews for this kind of stuff, so like for maybe like electronics to do with like filming, Amazon filming stuff, cheap cameras, and that kind of thing, cheap camping stuff. So keep an eye out for that if you like all that kind of thing. There will be some old style gaming on it once I've got a capture card, but that won't be for a little bit yet. But yeah, if you like fixing things, you like old electronics, you like reviews, do subscribe to the channel, keep an eye out, watch the videos you want to watch, and obviously if you're not interested, you don't watch them. But yeah, if you're interested in that, subscribe and then you'll know when they turn up. If you've enjoyed this one, which isn't my best, do go back to the channel, the main channel, watch something else, see how much better I can do than this. Then do so, and then you'll see that I can not on my videos this dull. But otherwise, I'll see you next week. You guys take care of yourselves and have a lovely week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. See, this is why I do like coming up here. The sheer views are stunning. But Right, and I've just said goodbye, and as you can see, we're on our way back to the car. But I wanted to ask a question because I'm not as clued up in this area of the world yet as you guys are. But I'm on a road called Hargill Lane, so this will be specifically for those who know about the area of Leyburn. Now, as far as I can tell, it's a public road. It's not your typical standard public road, because it's not particularly well paved. It's more like an off-road track, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But we've come up here to film this, and as I'm coming back, as I was going down, there was a gentleman who came up here in like a off-road vehicle, stopped at the car here, stared at it for a while, and then drove off. Now I don't know whether that's because I'm not actually allowed to stop on the side of the road here. I mean, I've parked off as far off the road as I can, you know, it's a front wheel drive people carrier. If I park entirely on the grass, it's probably going to get stuck. But I just want to make sure that I'm right, that this is a public road and I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to. So if anyone can shed some light on that for me, that would be brilliant. But otherwise, like I said, I'll see you next week. Bye bye.